but with the central point. And this point represents the dawn of differentiation. It is the point in the mundane egg, the germ within the ladder, which will become the universe. Now remember, this is in 1888, over 100 years ago. Blavatsky was saying our universe originated from a point source. Okay? Now I'm going to try to explain. In this work, I can't read all through. I've collected together different of Blavatsky's descriptions of zero-point dynamics and try to bring some of these quotations out. In this point, sometimes she calls what I call zero-point centers. Sometimes she uses the term zero points. Sometimes she calls them Laya centers. But she's saying a neutral center is in one aspect the limiting point of any given set of senses. Thus, we imagine two consecutive planes of matter as already formed, each of these corresponding to an appropriate set of perceptive organs. We are forced to admit that between these planes of matter an incessant circulation takes place. And if we follow the atoms and molecules of, say, the lower in their transformation upwards, these come to a point where they pass altogether beyond the range of the faculties we are using on the lower plane. In fact, to us, the matter of the lower plane there vanishes from our perception into nothing. Or rather, it passes onto the higher plane. And listen to what she says. And the state of matter corresponding to such a point of transition must certainly possess special and not readily discoverable properties. So the dot represents the 3 falling into 4. And in Kabbalah, that comes down then to sit in the heart, in sephira. But that's the 3 falling into 4. And this dot, the 11th invisible sephira, is very important. If you ascend the central pillar represents levels of consciousness. If you pass through dot, you are absorbed into the nirvana or satori. This is a ring past naught. Okay. Also from the stanzas of Zan, she says the 3 fall into 4. The radiant essence become 7 inside, 7 outside. Now what's so profound about Blavatsky, she's saying that even before creation happens, you have a 7-dimensional hyperspace. Okay? And that exists before creation even happens. Within that, she says, there are 7 luminous suns yet to be born from the matrix of non-being. But the fact that the 7 luminous suns have yet to be born also suggests that the 7 luminous suns exist. They already pre-exist in this undifferentiated form. So when creation happens, because hyperspace is 7-dimensional, when creation happens, as above, so below. 7 inside, 7 outside. Okay? And then that pattern can be repeated on different planes of being. On the left, you see, and everything is 7-fold. On the left, hyperspace is 7-dimensional, the 7-skinned eternal parent space. On the right, you have the 7 luminous suns, the 7 builders, the Elohim. 7 rays. So another very important quote, Blavatsky says, light is the first begotten and the first emanation of the Supreme, and light is life. She goes on, the light is the great protean magician. And under the divine will of the architects, the builders, its multifarious omniscient waves give birth to every form. And we see, and going down a little bit, it says it gives life, and from its primordial point gradually emerges into existence a myriad of worlds. Now this is the idea. It's like even in the Bible, in the beginning God says let there be light. So Blavatsky says all the forms of creation light is a great protean magician, and all the forms of creation are latent and potent within the potencies of light. So light is seen as primary in mystical creation. And we see in the stanzas when the ray of light penetrates into the mother deep, and that initiates the creation process. So in Blavatsky's metaphysics, light is the great protean magician. On the right here, I have physicist David Bohm. And he says mass is the phenomena of connecting light rays which go back and forth. Sorry, mass is a phenomena of connecting light rays which go back and forth, sort of freezing them into a pattern. So matter, as it were, is condensed or frozen light. This is a physicist. Okay, I won't read all through that. And Bohm goes on to say all the forms of nature, everything could be latent in the light. Blavatsky anticipated this again by a century, this concept. Another very important idea is the 7 holy circumgyrating breaths. In stanza 3:1 on the left, the primordial 7, the 7 modifications of the ceaseless breath, the first 7 breaths of the dragon of wisdom produce in their turn from their holy circumgyrating breaths the fiery whirlwind. They make of him, the fiery whirlwind is Fohat. Okay? They make of him, Fohat, the messenger of their will. Fohat, the swift son of the divine son, whose sons are the Lipica, runs circular errands. Fohat passes like lightning through the fiery clouds, takes 3 and 5 and 7 strides through the 7 regions above and the 7 regions below. So, I'm going to just go on to the next one here. The idea here is that on a higher dimensional plane we have the 7 builders, the 7 modifications of the ceaseless breath. But Fohat carries their influence and runs their errands and brings that into the material creation below. See, Blavatsky regards everything as having a triune nature: body, soul, and spirit. The body is ensouled by spirit. Okay. So and what we find also is, see, everything is a whirlwind, and when Fohat manifests, he runs circular errands. So it suggests like rotation. Okay, we'll see this is very important later, this concept of the circular errands. I'm going to try to maybe go back one. Let's see what. 7 small wheels revolving, one giving birth to the other. Fohat makes balls of fire, runs through them, round them, infusing life thereinto. On the right, Fohat represents metaphysically the objectified thought of the gods. Okay.